and welcome to Barbatus Catholic Podcast, the show where three Mexican dads talk about faith, life, and culture. We are your hosts,
Gustavo,
Ivan,
and Walter, and today we are going to tell you why you should get a hobby or two. But first, a word from our sponsor. How can you teach your children to live their Catholic faith beyond the walls of your parish? One way is to engage your family's values in a Catholic healthcare option like CMF Curo. CMF Curo is an affordable Catholic healthcare ministry that's perfect for growing families and that's rooted in church teachings. CMF Curo members share medical burdens in community, have access to a spiritual director, concierge services, health and spiritual resources, and more. Learn more about CMF Curo at mycatholichealthcare.com. That's mycatholichealthcare.com. Welcome to the podcast. We are recording right now in Studio A. We said that we were gonna Studio A,
the garage.
From the garage because it's not as hot in Arizona anymore. It's November 8th today that we are recording.
and it's still a bit warm.
Still got up to 90
Still
today,
a little
dude.
bit.
I think I saw 85 today.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do I have
85?
to turn on my...
It felt like 90 to me
AC
then.
now?
I was out and about doing things and I was just like, this is too hot for comfort
Yeah,
to be
like-
in November.
I'm ready to not wear Birkenstocks
Yeah.
and shorts. Like
hmm
I bought 2 sweaters. Ask me how many times I wore them.
No?
None. I mean, once to mass, and then I was like sweating bullets, but carrying children and whatnot. But so it's early November, and we realized one thing. Ivan and I realized one thing that is that Gustavo is actually the Grinch.
Mm-hmm.
As much as
I am in November.
It kind
and
of came as a
October.
shock to be.
I am
It
a
was.
Grinch. I love Christmas, but not
Do
in
you, though?
October. Oh, yeah.
Not in October.
Oh, dude. We watch Christmas movies every single year. But
in December.
yes.
starting the 24th at midnight,
No.
not before. Before
No,
that is
it-
Advent.
And then everything stops.
Advent needs to be a thing first, and then we get into the Christmas spirit, right? Into the holiday season spirit.
do you do penance on Advent as part of the
Yeah, I mean we abstain and stuff. We treat it like
like
Lent.
mini Lent?
I mean, we start.
Probably why. And the reason of the anecdote is that Gustavo texts Ivan and I is like, what the crap? There's a radio station that is playing Christmas music.
It's not quite what I said, but thank you for being
You
politically
know, PG-13, man.
Dude, I was beside myself. It was November
99.9.
3rd. Yeah. And it's the holiday station, right? They do
Yeah.
that every year. And I love it. I really like when I used to commute, I was like, right? And
Yeah.
but now it's like I feel like every year it gets sooner. It gets like it's like late October and you're like, what? It was like October 15th and the stores had like the Christmas stuff up already. No joke.
Mm.
Like, and again, it was November 3rd, and that stuff I usually hear it like closer to Thanksgiving, and before it used to start the day of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's
Black
the rule.
Friday.
That's the rule that Deanna and I have. Like, no Christmas music until Thanksgiving Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can start playing
Mm.
Christmas music. But yeah, just so you guys know, Gustavo hates Mariah Carey.
Mhm.
And
I don't,
you don't.
kind of a little bit.
It's
When
a
I
deal.
hear her on the radio on November 3rd, yes, I'm not a happy camper. So I quickly changed the station. I'm like, don't give
Even
me
if you
this
hear
now.
the song Heartbreaker.
Which one? Well, that's not a. No, I mean, okay, I'm not a Mariah
Not a
Carey
monster.
connoisseur, obviously, but I don't know. It's weird. I get this.
So keep all the mistletoe
People
away from Gustavo
People don't know how to wait
because he hates
man.
Christmas and he's married.
People don't know how to wait.
That's true. Maybe it is because of the supply chain problems that
I
we're
think it has to
expecting.
do. I've
you know?
never heard Christmas music on the radio this early in the year.
Me
man.
neither. I think that's
That's
like an
nuts.
exception to the rule.
I think that they're trying to get more shopping in because of it, of that supply chain thing that's happening. And like they opened the border today too,
That's true.
like after like 20 months, right?
Mm.
The lines were crazy, dude. It was like 3:00 in the morning and it was already like
people were already
so
in their
long you
cars.
couldn't even see it. Yeah.
Dang.
It was nuts.
That's crazy.
Because you could see the feed like on Facebook or stuff like that. People reporting on it and it's like, oh my gosh. You know?
That's insane.
So they are getting like a lot more shopping in now. But when does it end? You know, next year it's like we're gonna skip like Halloween altogether. And you know, I feel like it's just too fast. I like we put our Christmas tree up on Gaudete Sunday, which is the third Sunday of Advent.
And do you put just the lights or like a
We
bear
put
tree?
we put the lights and the tree up that week.
With no ornaments?
No, we put everything up.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Because I've known families that do ornaments like Christmas
Christmas.
Day.
No, yeah. We're getting to that,
no,
I
we don't
guess.
do that.
Because then that's the Christmas season.
I
You
know,
know?
I know. Well,
That's-
we're gonna make an episode on the 12 days of Christmas. It's just
So
don't get ahead of myself.
so
Do I need to not give you booze before we start recording? Te pones bravo, mo.
dude, you got me on a topic that's hot right now.
Okay, so a lot of people are going shopping right now, but they should probably get a hobby, which is what we are going to talk about today. And actually, Ivan pitched this idea for an episode. And I was like, yeah, we should do one that is not like us teaching about some obscure teaching of the church.
Which you love to do, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of my jam. But
Maybe you know what pushed it over the edge, I think?
when
The church built with skulls. Just saying. I loved it.
the church built with skulls,
Yeah, our episode on the
you think that was the
Mori.
line?
Yeah, I was like, all right, we need something to break the ice. a
We
little
need
bit.
something that is like a little bit lighter. We're kind of losing the 10 listeners that we have. So let's do a little bit about hobbies. So I found this article that says there's 6 reasons to get a hobby. And I thought that we could go through it and then comment on that. But before we get into like the list, I was talking to Father Dan Keneally, pastor at St. Joan of Arc, and he had a really good take on busyness, because he doesn't like when people say that they are too busy.
Mhm,
He's like, don't tell me that you're busy.
mhm.
Tell me the things that you have done, because nowadays it's like being busy is a badge of honor, a sign of virtue and importance, but we're just like filling up our waking hours with things that we are giving priority to.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's like when you ask somebody, he's like, how you doing? It's like super busy.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. You
But
can't
then-
believe it.
they cannot name like
Yeah.
one thing that they accomplished.
Oh yeah, with what?
Like stuff, you know?
Yeah, work.
Life.
And stuff.
You
You know,
know,
I've been doing
kids.
stuff.
Which, kids are, taking care of your family. It is a work in and of itself. Not to say that it's not that, but there was like a really cool like change of perspective of how to frame it. Saying, Father Kennedy was telling me, because it was in regards to prayer, like, oh, don't tell me that you're busy to pray. So
Mhm.
just say prayer is not a priority, or like this is not a priority for me. And I was like, escala muy feo eso, no?
Yeah, it puts it in a different perspective. And it puts the onus on you instead of like, oh, time,
Yeah,
you know?
because then James Clear is going to start asking us to not talk about his book, but Atomic Habits. You were casting votes towards the person that you want to be, and
Mhm.
if you want to be someone who it has a prayer for life, then you go and pray every day, right? Or go and do the thing every day. But today we're going to talk about hobbies. So obviously we are all the 3 of us are amateur podcasters, right? That's kind of the hobby that we have in common. But what else? What are your hobbies, Ivan?
So recently I've been really into cigars and tequila.
Oh,
That's
you got some for your birthday, right?
I did. I got some cigars for my birthday. I got some straight from Cuba, which
Cuban
they're
cigars.
pretty nice.
Nice.
My father-in-law went to Miami, and when he was there, he bought me like a box of Cuban cigars, and
Si
they're
te
bomb.
quiere, güey.
¿Verdad que sí? Sí le caigo bien. But yeah, so like I've been really into cigars lately. I feel like I've been smoking one maybe like once a week, and like just drinking like a good tequila, not like a Jose Cuervo, nothing like that. Like I mean, like a good tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm drinking one called Don Sergio,
Okay.
un añejo. Oh man, it's so good.
I would have never paired Cubans with tequila.
Me neither, but I tried it and it's surprisingly very good.
Interesting.
So cigars and tequila, that's my jam right now.
That's a commitment because it takes a while to smoke a cigar.
It does, but dude, that's like my zen time, my alone time,
Okay.
where I just go outside and
You smoke at like 3 o'clock in the morning or what?
No, after the girls go to bed. So like around, I don't know, 8:30, 9 p.m.
Oh, nice.
I just throw on my AirPods, listen to some music, smoke a cigar, drink some tequila.
Sweet.
It's a vibe.
I just know that the only ones that I can stand are Connecticut cigars.
Connecticut's?
And that's because they're super mild. So
Mhm.
I'm a lightweight. I'd rather smoke a pipe bowl because it's
Yeah.
sooner, it's quicker, right?
So it depends. Sometimes, like if I'm in the mood, like I've been going to just cigars because it's a lot quicker. I mean, a pipe you're gonna get through it a lot faster, but
Mm-hmm.
a cigar, it's you just grab your cigar, cut it, light it, and then you're good to go. Pipe but to a pipe, you got to
It's a
pack
ritual,
it, this
yeah.
and that. But which I love to do. Don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
I think just recently cigars have been my jam.
Nice.
Nice.
So-
We're gonna have to do a cigar night.
Yeah.
Kind of been wanting to smoke. Anyways, that's good. Gustavo.
I think I mentioned it before. I got into woodworking a little bit a couple of years back, especially with the pandemic. I had like a starter set of tools, that every guy should have around the house. But I was really intentional about kind of like getting good working tools. So during the pandemic, I kind of like built up my inventory a little bit, and I didn't practice as much as I wanted to because I am not a millionaire. And wood was crazy expensive, so I just couldn't go to Home Depot and
buy
spend
lumber.
like $700 for 4 2x4s, because it was pretty expensive stuff. So, but yeah, I like doing things with my hands, woodworking or just fixing stuff around the house. I like playing the guitar. I like reading.
fixing bathrooms.
Fixing bathrooms. That's my new one right now. I'm trying to get into plumbing and little things that I've never ventured into. But overall, like I love doing stuff around the house. There's always something for me to fix, and I get that from my dad. My dad is like he cannot sit still. So he's always looking for stuff around the house to fix or to sand or to paint or.
My dad's the same way.
So he's always like very, very active.
I know your folks' backyard. Your dad did it all himself, right?
Yeah, it's like he just gets bored and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a brick oven.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that. And again, to your point, Walter, it's the time. I just because I'm notorious for starting something and not finishing it too.
Okay.
So I've tried to pace myself to say if I don't have like the full time to really commit to finishing this project, I'm not going to even start it. So, yeah, I think those are my big ones. Same with like the drinking stuff. I love trying different kinds of whiskey. I don't smoke. I've never been a smoker, but I'm not opposed to a cigar night.
Okay.
So
Need to put it on the calendar.
yeah, dude.
Well, I think most people got a hobby at the beginning of 2020 because lockdowns and whatnot. So I got into the pandemic hobby starter kit, I guess, because I started making sourdough and
Mhm.
And then Wes, shout out to Wes. He got me into coffee roasting, which you guys have tried the coffee that I roasted. I haven't bought green beans in a while, but I'm thinking of making like a holiday blend, but we'll see.
As soon as you do it, as long as you do it clear into December.
Don't make it now.
Don't make it now.
Don't make it now. Otherwise, call it something else.
Don't. Gustavo's not gonna take any.
Call it a fall roast.
Well,
Don't call it like Christmas blend in October. Okay, I'm done with that.
This is going to be a pumpkin spice something. What I'm saying is that you are getting coffee for Christmas.
That's
just so
awesome.
You know. And gardening not so much, but if it, we grew like cantaloupes and whatnot. They were not good, so it's just like
dude, really? The plant that you gave me yielded really good cantaloupes.
Well, you know what it is? I think I planted too many too close together, so they were competing for resources.
Maybe. So, maybe you gotta spread them out. Yeah. Like literally yesterday, Ana Lucia came in with like the last one because we stopped watering it, and even it yielded like I don't know how many cantaloupes you got out of it.
We got like maybe a dozen.
Oh yeah, we got more or less the same.
Yeah,
but they were big,
like 3 or 4 plants.
Oh, but yeah, you gave me one plant, and they were so sweet.
I know, ambrosia.
Oh my goodness! So gardening a little bit too. We grew. Look
at that green thumb coming in.
I know, seriously. Oh, fun fact: ambrosia comes from Saint Ambrose because story tells that Saint Ambrose, when he was a baby, a bee landed on his tongue and didn't sting him, meaning that he would be a good preacher because he had really sweet words.
Oh, there you go.
So that's where you get ambrosia. Varietal for fruit and whatnot that are very sweet.
Good to know.
See? Nice. Even when talking about hobbies, Walter gets to nerd out and teach us. Look at that.
Every chance that I get to nerd out, I'm gonna nerd out, man. Okay. Okay, we talked a little bit about hobbies, but why is it important that we have hobbies and that we make time for hobbies? So, number one, hobbies help you structure your time. There's this thing that I just learned recently called the Parkinson's Law, which says that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. So basically it translates to, if you don't set up a date that you're going to finish a thing by, you will occupy all the time that you have to finish that task. So if you say, I'm going to write this paper in the next 4 hours, you're more than likely to be just like heads down, focusing on the task at hand, than if you say, well, let's just finish it this week. It's going to take you the whole week. So with having a hobby, so what you can do is, if like us, we know that we are going to record a podcast on Monday night at 7:30 p.m. So we probably wrap up our day at work at the time that we need to wrap up, have dinner with the family, get ready, and then start driving over to the garage or whatever. So it sets a good, starts a good habit of time management. You can start compartmentalizing things instead of just like, well, I'm just going to log in after the kids go to bed and check email, you know?
Yeah.
There is a separation and there is a good structure of time.
And you're giving it its proper attention. You know, it's not something that is nilly-willy. Because as family men, you know, we got to work around family life. So we there's certain hobbies, at least, you know, I try to be as respectful as I can with the time that I have, not to throw it away and needlessly. Also, this is a great outlet. The podcast has been great for us. We've been learning, we fellowship, we get out, you know, and stuff like that. But with woodworking, you know, I would do it after everybody went to sleep to not take away time from family time. But, you know, if it was like a Saturday and we had really nothing else going on, then I would spend a couple of hours just like fidgeting around. So,
or if you can have the girls in the
I'm helping out.
Can't really have the girls helping me smoke a cigar, but I'll try to find
Here,
something
Lily,
else.
try this tequila. It's really good. It's very smoky.
It also kind of reminds me of time blocking, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I feel like all the smartest minds in the world. Like I know Elon Musk, like he uses time blocking to really plan out his day.
Yeah.
Where he from this time to this time he's gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
only that.
And if it's on his calendar, it's on his calendar and he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, I mean we
important.
should totally structure hobbies like that
Mhm.
as well.
One thing that I've been trying to do is to do like a workout during my lunch hour. So since I'm working from home, I was like, well, I'm just gonna take an hour during lunch. I can do like 30 minutes of something, take a shower, and then eat at my desk and work.
Mhm.
Which some days I would just like eat at my desk and work, you know. But now, it has been a good change of routine that now I know that every day at lunchtime I go do my workout, take a shower, eat at my desk, you know. And that's the thing that I do. And again, time boxing, you go and you do it, you do the rep, get the reps in. And that kind of ties good with like the second point that we have. Hobbies promote flow. For those that don't know what flow are you familiar with the concept of flow? Have you watched the movie Soul from Pixar? I think we
I
talked
can
about it.
vaguely remember it.
It was like very weird, but one of the things
Mhm.
that it mentions is that when people are like in the zone,
Oh yeah.
like a musician or an
Mhm.
athlete or something, there is this detachment from like what you are doing, where like time flies and your self consciousness it pretty much disappears, and you're like fully immersed in the activity.
Yeah.
Hobbies can promote that.
Oh, nice.
So when you are woodworking, you can just like hands down be doing that, and then all of a sudden you look at the clock
And
and
it's
it's
been
like
2 hours. Or
yeah,
whatever.
something like that, or you're like enjoying your cigar and your tequila, and Nayeli comes and is like, "Hey, are you coming to bed? What's going on?" So for me, like with sourdough, it's like it's very time consuming. So it's just like you get into this rhythm that you get really into the thing that you are doing, or like preparing the outlines for the podcast. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
start nerding out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I guess I kind of like talked for you if you have experienced that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Exactly like you said. When I was this one time, I was building like a little bed bunks for my girls' dolls,
Uh huh.
and I wanted to finish it before to give it to Frida for her birthday. But since they both had the dolls, I said, well, if I'm making one, I should make two, so they can play together. Um, and that's what happened. I mean, I went into the garage around like 8. All of a sudden, it was like midnight, and I'm like, cero sueño. I mean,
You were not tired.
I was not tired. I was not like, oh man, I'm drained. It was just like, I wish I could keep going.
Mm.
So I think it's a good hobby when you really look forward to it and you're thinking about it and prepping for it when you're not doing it. Not to say that it takes over your life, but you make it part of your life.
You look forward
you
to
look
it.
forward to it. Yeah.
That's a good way
And
to
you
put it.
find ways of trying to get better at it, or more knowledgeable at it, or more experimental with it. Like with tequila, I mean, there's so many varieties, or you know what I mean? Same with woodworking, there's so many projects that you can do. I mean, the sky's the limit,
Yeah.
But always getting better at it, I think is a good indicator of a good hobby, at least to me.
And that can help you also foster new social connections in trying to get better.
Mm-hmm.
You can some of the things that we have mentioned can be kind of solitary and like downtime and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but they can also help us meet new people that have the same interests and passions than we do. um,
one thing that I realized when I really got into baking is like how big the community it is on Instagram or YouTube. There's people that
Yeah.
are just like putting content out on the web. That some of them I like reached out with questions and they were just like answer like
Mhm.
within the hour
hmm
because they were just like so happy that they had other people, like-minded people that they were
Yeah.
exchanging knowledge with. Um, so just to remind, especially us men, that sometimes we can get into this mindset of like we're gonna white knuckle it and do it on our own, but we're not islands, right? We
Mhm.
need social connection in order to find like meaning and attain happiness. So, have you guys met anybody because of the hobbies that you have?
Not. I haven't reached out to anybody, but I'm living vicariously through like this one guy on YouTube that has this channel where I've gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of inspiration. And it's funny because I was fixing up a bathroom today and I'd never done like plumbing or I've never done like patchwork on drywall and stuff like that before. But I think all those, the fly time, the hours put into watching YouTube videos really pays off because it was like, okay, I know kind of what to do. Here's the problem. I have these ways of doing it because I've learned about by watching it. And yeah, there's a whole community of like makers and, it gets pretty crazy with like 3D printing and stuff like that, which I'm not that into, but I've never personally reached out, but I've been, again, very attentive of everybody else's and what they're doing. And my Instagram feed is the same thing. It's like I go to my search and it's like woodworking projects, like over and over and over and over. So, yeah.
I think for me, you kind of just like meet people that you didn't like, you already friends with,
Mhm.
but you didn't know that they smoke cigars,
Mhm.
and then they either see you on social media or you run into them and say, "Oh, you smoke cigars too? Sweet, we should smoke a cigar."
Yeah.
So kind of things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of just hooking up with other people that
Yeah,
like to
it
smoke
opens up-
cigars. And
Are you talking about Ryan Ayala?
yeah, I mean, I knew that he smoked cigars. He actually came
He's
over
a big
maybe,
proponent of the theology of the cigar.
yeah, maybe like 2 months ago. He came over to smoke a cigar,
Nice.
and yeah, we had a pretty good conversation. But yeah, he loved that stuff.
Shout out to Ryan. We're gonna have to have him come and talk about the I don't know if he calls it the theology of the cigar, but he's trying to like make it a thing. For
Coin
people.
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trying to coin it.
Yeah. Make it a thing. Which flows very nicely into the next point that we have. Hobbies make you interesting.
Mm.
So, I mean, let's face it. You want to be around other people that have passions, right? People that have a sense of curiosity, that know how to tell stories, that have stories to tell, and having a hobby can provide fodder for small talk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, you're not going to talk people's ears off. Just look for cues
Mm-hmm.
to how to introduce those things in the conversation, and that can inspire somebody to be like what you said, Ivan. Someone is like, "Hey, you smoke cigars? Like, what do you recommend something, or like,
Mhm.
can you help me out? Pick one or whatever." No, and you start like making those social connections, and it makes you a little bit more interesting as a person. It's just like not just like one dimension.
Yeah,
Helps with building your personality.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it gets you out of some comfort zones,
Mm-hmm.
I
How
don't-
so?
Well, because again, I mean, I'll talk about my woodworking is like, I knew I liked working with my hands, but you gotta, there's a lot to learn. You gotta learn how to use the tools. You gotta learn how different types of wood. You gotta learn different types of cuts. Everything, right? It's similar to what like
Mhm.
baking is, right? Your
Yeah.
times, your rise, your baking, your everything,
Kneading, all of that.
all of that stuff. So it's if you're not willing to invest the time and fail at it, then you're not gonna eventually get good at it.
Yeah, there's some.
You know what I mean?
There's some humility involved.
Yeah,
in
totally.
the process of learning or
You know?
acquiring a new hobby.
And that bed that I was making, I messed the first one up, and I had to start over again. You know, so it's just like, there goes 8 hours. You know, of like weekends paired together.
Yeah, and the woodworking is one of those hobbies that you cannot like rectify very easily.
Not too much, you know, unless you have a ton of wood glue and like filler. But ideally, everything should come out as the picture at the end of the day.
Yep.
But I think the comfort zone idea is that you gotta allow yourself to fail in order to get better at the thing that you're doing. You know, sometimes people just I just want it to look like a table. It's like, well, okay, then there's certain steps in time and mistakes that need to be made in order to get you to feel confident enough to do it every single time. You know,
So primero te va a salir fea,
yeah.
and then practice.
Oh, wobbly. My first workbench that I did was super wobbly. That's what I made the second one. Super wobbly.
There you go.
But it was the 2x4s. They were like pretty. I didn't know how to pick wood. So there's the other dimension of picking wood. So it's like, all right, live and learn.
There it is. You should start your woodworking YouTube channel.
Just another one of the thousands of channels that
Hey
are
man,
out there.
well, in Spanish.
Oh, there you go.
Ah.
That'd be good.
Qué
That's a
huele.
good idea.
Okay, number 5. Hobbies can help you cope with stress, and I think this is one of the important ones. Not that the other ones are not important, but you know, sometimes we have a bad day at work, and spending some time doing your hobby in order to feed this other facet of your personality, it's something that can get you through what happened. You know, maybe you as the employee had a shit day at work, you
Mhm.
know, but then you come home and then you look forward to like, okay, what am I going to do with this downtime that I had an hour to do my hobby, if I'm going to paint by numbers and I'm just going to get
Mhm.
lost into like this painting that I'm trying to complete or whatever it is, it can make your your day be a little bit better because it's not like our jobs are part of our life. They are not our life. And I think that hobbies are so important because how many people do you know that they're workaholics and just
Mhm.
like their job is their life.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
just hang out with people that they work with, and that's it,
Or they work at home
or they work at home.
after working.
right?
Mhm.
It's like I make it an effort to not touch my work computer after I'm
Mhm.
done for the day until the next day. You know,
Mhm.
I don't even want to touch computers like right now or like out
Yeah.
of necessity, but
Mhm.
not because I want to be browsing. I have my phone for that, but that's a different story. The point that I'm trying to make is if you have that thing that adds layers to who you are, whether if you can add like several different layers, like you can be an athlete, a musician, a cook, a baker, a candlestick maker. I had to throw the rhyme in there. You can help cope with that stress of daily life.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why, after a long day, going to work, spending time with my family, bedtime gets chaotic.
Mhm.
Nayeli wants some unwind time, and then I want my own time. And then sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, it's the time for her and me to hang out, for her and me to just
Talk.
talk, relax, watch a show, browse Instagram. She usually shows me TikToks, whatever the case may be.
Whatever.
But there's those times where it's like it was a stressful day. I'm like, man, I'm just gonna go outside and smoke a cigar
Mhm.
because that's really gonna like mellow me out. And yeah, so it's
Yeah.
so true, to cope with stress. So
For me, it was also a way of redirecting. I'm a creative person. I mean, that's what I do for work. I'm a creative director. But sometimes it gets a little too similar. Pan con lo mismo, we call it in my
Spanish,
house,
yeah.
right? Which is it tends to get monotonous depending on what kind of work you're doing. So for me, doing woodworking, and it was just another way of letting my creativity kind of like feed, and grow. Because I know I've been doing what I'm doing with graphic design. I mean, I'm going on 20 years, so after a little while doing something, you get to a point where you're like, okay, what else? What's new?
Well, yeah, but you're being creative, like using your computer, right?
Correct.
But it's slightly different because you're being creative using your hands and other tools that are not a computer.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what really draw me to it, to make something with your hands. And it really became an outlet to not let creativity just like dwindle down or turn it off when I turn the computer off at the end of the day at work. I can still be thinking about creative things even when I'm not doing them for work, essentially.
Do you try to have a balance of like how much you consume and how much you create?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I want to be making something, and I haven't, because last year was pretty weird for everybody, and for us with fostering and stuff like that, it really limited time. But with now having a little bit more ability to focus on it, yes, definitely, I want to make sure that I make more than I watch. You know
That
what I mean?
you consume.
Yeah, because I already got the basics down. I think, like I said, I put in the simulator time. I'm learning how to use the tools, basic knowledge of wood and stuff like that. So it's now time to go buy some wood. I got to win the lottery first. Again, that stuff hasn't come back down in price.
All this to say, if you have scrap wood that you have laying around, donate it to Gustavo so he can continue doing his project.
Yeah, we're going to set up another website like the coffee one where you donate me wood.
Instead of buy me a coffee, it's buy me a 2x4.
Buy me a 2x4. I want to make a cutting board.
Nice.
Cutting board. Well, I made you that thing, right? The bread thing?
Transfer, the baguette transfer, which I haven't used, by the way. I should probably make some baguettes.
There you go.
Pues es que nos pusimos gordos, ¿verdad? Tanto pan. Gaining a lot of weight because of the baking. All right, last one. The benefits of your hobby can spill over into other aspects of your life. So think about it. If you can dedicate an hour a day for a few hours a week to something that you feel truly inspired and enlivened by, it's no surprise that it's going to carry over your work and your family life. Like if you have this like, how do you call it? This pep in your step kind of thing. It's like it refreshes you, right? Having this hobby. Have you two seen any benefits out of the hobbies that you have?
Out of the hobbits, yeah.
Out of the hobbits.
Hobbitses. Stupid hobbitses. The fat one hates us.
Has it made you more patient? Like
No.
now, no?
Oh, hell no.
You curse at the 2x4s?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't think it's made me more patient or
No.
anything like that.
Well, I guess I haven't had enough time to exercise it to say, but the benefit is that I'm more capable than I was. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, again, today I had to put a new faucet in and deal with like plumbing, and I've never done that. And then after you start doing it, obviously a 5-minute job turns into a 4-hour endeavor because you pull something out and it breaks something, and now you got to work on the drywall and stuff. You know what I mean? It just kind of like adds on to
New
it.
problem.
Yeah, new problem. So I didn't feel overwhelmed as I would have before. I would have been like, screw this. I'm going to call somebody. I was like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to fix it, and it's not going to win, essentially. So in that sense, the woodworking has allowed me to fine tune some other skills, not just like woodworking,
Yeah, it's transferable skills.
Yeah, exactly. So I think from a benefit standpoint, I think yes, it's made me a lot better at handy stuff around the house.
Well, and
I mean, I kind of feel the same way.
mental health, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. With mental health, just after a long day of, just work and stress and all that, just to take some time for for me to just relax and smoke a
Mhm.
cigar. But I've also learned, some of the skills, for the cigar. For example, when you're smoking a cigar and then, people keep like tapping the ashes off the cigar.
Uh-huh.
But like if the longer you leave the ash, that like it works like a filter. So it's not as harsh.
See, I
So-
bet a lot of people listening.
Yeah, so things like that I just I just mainly learned by YouTube, watching
Mhm.
YouTube videos, and then I tried it myself, and I'm like, that's very true. Or just knowing my limits as well.
Mhm.
I used to like smoke that cigar until like it was like a tiny little piece left, but then it gets so harsh, and then te da la peda, you're like, ugh. So
You
like
get
now,
all green.
You need tweezers.
exactly, yeah,
You need tweezers afterwards.
yeah. So like now I know my limits of like, okay, I got them all I could from the cigar, put it down,
Yeah.
and either start another one or just call it quits for the night. So things like that.
Right.
Know your limits.
Know your limits.
Mhm.
Know thyself.
Mhm.
See? The theology of the cigar.
Ryan, get in touch with us.
Chesterton had something when it said like the pipe, the pint, and the cross can fit together.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
Um,
That reminds me of AJ.
that's true.
Mhm.
Shout out to AJ. For me, I think that what I've seen benefits of a hobby is like on the weekends, I most likely will take like 1 or 2 hours in a coffee shop or in my office, just like working on the outlines for the podcast or doing show notes or whatever. And that little time away helps me be refreshed and just like come
Uh-huh.
back and be, what can I help you with? Do you need me to take the kids out of the house? Things like that.
Mhm.
You know, the little time that helps you do something that it's truly enjoyable by you, that lowers your stress, can help you go back in with more energy,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
So I guess what we're trying to say with all of this is give hobbies a try. Pick up 1 or 2 if you want to know more about like the hobbies that we have and whatnot. Send us an email, a direct message on Instagram. We'll be more than happy to answer any of the questions that you might have in terms of hobbies. And the sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, and let us know what hobbies you have.
That's
also
true. Yeah.
be good to just steer the pot and see what other areas we're not exploring other than cigars, baking, and woodworking.
That is true. Can you imagine someone is like, I make my own bacon? It's like, we need to be best friends right now. That would be fun. If you
I
make
wanna
your
see
own
the whole
bacon,
process.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, so we've been watching Little House on the Prairie as a family because I have older kids and
And girls.
and they're both girls, and there's just very limited options of what you can watch as a family now, right? And it's such a good show because it's like the dad of the show, Pa. He's the everything man, he can do anything. And he built his own house. He's like, obviously, gets its own chickens and all these things. And you're like, really feel empowered, like, all right, yeah, I got to do all those things. Cause you imagine we
Self-sufficiency.
self-sufficiency. We would have had to have all those skills if we would have lived in the 1850s, and it's amazing to see how a lot of people don't have skills now. I know kids like 15, 17-year-olds don't know how to change a tire. Gotta have life skills on top of hobbies. So life skills is the next episode.
Get off everybody's lawn, as Gustavo would say. And While you are thinking about what hobby you're going to pick up next, we want to thank you for listening to this episode of Barbatus Catholic Podcast, the show where three Mexican dads talk about faith, life, and culture. If you like the podcast or got something out of the episode, please share it with your friends and family. Subscribe, like, comment, rate, and review if you haven't. If you are feeling extra generous, you can buy us a coffee. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Barbatus and follow the instructions. And if you buy us a coffee, you automatically get a shout out in one of our episodes. And if you don't like the podcast, well, just keep it to yourself and let others make their own mistakes. You can find the show notes for the episode and other episodes at barbatuscatholicpodcast.com. On social media, we are on Instagram at Barbatus Catholic Podcast. And bless Solanas Casey.
Pray for us.
Until the next time.